All you boys and girls, time for some extra practice problems. So, you know the drill. I'm going to put some problems up here, pause the video, write them down, try to work them out, and then you can watch me explain to you how to do them. Here we go. Okay, with the first one, the variable's on the left-hand side and the factor outside of the parentheses is 3. So, the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3, so we're going to go ahead and do that on both sides. On the left-hand side, the times 3 divided by 3 cancel, leaving x plus 5. And on the right-hand side, 27 divided by 3 is 9. From here, it's a one-step problem, just like the ones at the beginning of the chapter. We want to get rid of that constant plus 5. The opposite of plus 5 is minus 5, so we do that on both sides. On the left, the 5's cancel. And on the right, 9 minus 5 is going to be 4. On to problem 2. This time the factor outside of the parentheses is 3. We get rid of it by dividing by 3 on both sides. On the left the 3's cancel, leaving r minus 6. On the right, 12 divided by 3 equals 4. Now to get rid of that minus 6, the opposite is plus 6, so we're going to add 6 to both sides. On the left the 6's cancel, and on the right 4 plus 6 is 10. Last one. How you been doing so far? Hopefully good. This one we have negative 7 as the factor outside of the parentheses, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 7. Do not forget the negative sign. On the left they cancel, and on the right, positive 49 divided by negative 7 is going to be negative 7. Now here, the constant and the variable are on the left-hand side, and that constant is 6. Since there's no sign in front of that 6, we assume it's positive. And the opposite of plus 6 is minus 6. So we're going to do that on both sides. On the left-hand side, the 6's cancel. And on the right-hand side, negative 7 minus 6 is going to be negative 13. If that last part confused you, type it in the calculator if you need to. Negative 7 minus 6 is negative 13. Okay, so now let's take a look at 3 problems that have fraction factors. Well, I actually decided to give you a decimal in one of them. So number 2 is a decimal. Want to make sure you know how to handle that. And number 3, the fractions on the right-hand side, but we should not be scared about that either. So go ahead and write these down, try to work them out, and then when you're ready, press play, and we'll see how you did. Okay, so the first one, the factor outside of the parentheses is 1/4. Anytime we want to get rid of a fraction factor, we multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is the fraction flipped. So let's go ahead and do that. Now on the left-hand side, the 4 over 1 times 1/4, they're going to cancel. And that's going to leave h minus 3 on the left. On the right-hand side, if I want to make it easier, I can take that negative 15, turn it into a fraction by putting it over 1. And now on top, I have negative 15 times 4. That's going to be negative 60. And on bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. Now, I can simplify that. Anything over 1 is itself, so negative 60 over 1 is going to be negative 60. And on the left, I still have h minus 3. Now, to get rid of that minus 3, the opposite of minus 3 is plus 3, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. The 3's on the left cancel, and negative 60 plus 3 is negative 57. So we have h equals negative 57 as our answer there. Remember, if you didn't get the answer for some reason, pause the video, take a look at your work and my work, and see where the mistake was made. Now let's take a look at number 2. Here we have a decimal as a factor outside of the parentheses, so we're going to solve the same way. The opposite of 0.75 being multiplied is dividing by 0.75. So let's do that on both sides. Now on the left, the times 0.75 and divided by 0.75 cancel. And on the right, using the calculator, 12 divided by 0.75 is 16. Now, we need to get rid of that 6. Since there's nothing in front of that 6, I assume that it's positive. If it was negative, it would have to have a negative sign. So the opposite of plus 6 is minus 6. I'm going to do that on both sides. The 6's on the left cancel, and I'm left with v equals, and 16 minus 6 is 10. Now, I wonder how many of you saw that decimal and panicked a little bit. The truth is that problem's not that bad at all. Just use your calculator if you need to. Don't worry about it. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the last one, number 3. This time, we have the factor on the right-hand side. Now if it helps you, you can rewrite it with that factor, the fraction factor, on the left-hand side. Take a look. See what I did there? The truth is, the problem's exactly the same. All I did was move something from one side to the other. Just like I can rewrite 2 times 3 as 3 times 2. Either way, it would be 6. Now, let's get rid of that fraction on the left. The way we get rid of a fraction as a factor is by multiplying by the reciprocal. On the left-hand side, 9/5 and 5/9 cancel, leaving x plus 3. And on the right-hand side, if I want to, I can turn that 40 into a fraction by putting it over 1. Now, multiplying across the top, 40 times 9 is going to be 360, and 5 times 1 is going to be 5. Now, I can simplify this before I go any further, and it's always a good idea to check to see if you can simplify these things, especially when you're dealing with problems out of a textbook or a math test. They usually make these things to simplify pretty easy. 360 divided by 5 is actually going to be 72. So we can rewrite this as, now, to get rid of that plus 3, we do the opposite, minus 3 on both sides. On the left-hand side, they cancel, and on the right-hand side, 72 minus 3 is 69. Hopefully you were able to get all 3 of those, and if you had any trouble,